Hi, welcome back. I'm Government Property, and today we're talking about dehumanization, or the fact that in the military, you are literally this. You are an expendable asset, or were an expendable asset, to be used up physically and mentally for the purposes of whatever mission or missions you were sent out on. Whether that mission was being a cook aboard an aircraft carrier, sailing the seas to go perform a mission, or if you were a infantryman or kicking the door in and taking out insurgents, you were an expendable asset. And that comes from the military having to be a place where you're dehumanized. And by dehumanization, I mean it's the point in which you realize you're at some point you realize you were a name and not a number. You were an asset, a force multiplier, someone who, for the lack of a better term, lost their identity to the fact that the generals at the Pentagon, the people at the division or even the brigade level don't know who you are as a person. Your squad knows, your individual squad mates, your bunk mates, your battle buddies, your your company commander, your first sergeant probably knows who you are. But other than that, you're just a number on a page. You're just an asset. And if you die, which is more than likely in a combat zone, I mean, the last couple of combat zones we've had haven't had massive casualties like there was in the wars of attrition in World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam. But it happens, and it's going to happen. War is inevitably going to take lives, whether it's your life or someone else. And the dehumanization process starts when you join the military in basic training. You go in, everybody's made to be the same. The guys all end up with generally the same haircut. You're all wearing the same uniform. You are literally, I mean, other than some physical differences such as height and body mass and body shape, you're all the same. You're all expendable for the purposes of whatever the mission is. And you're going to get sent out. You're going to be put in the situation where it's going to happen. And the dehumanization process, like I said, starts in basic or starts in boot camp. And you get through basic, you get through boot camp, you get to the other end of that equation, and you end up in a situation where, like, say, you get deployed. Like, I was deployed in 2004, 2005, boots on the ground 2005 in Iraq. I volunteered for convoys because, hey, I thought, it'd be good fun. Um, Admittedly, it was. But I had to understand that when looking at my enemies, I couldn't ask myself the question in the middle of an engagement of, did they have a mother, a father, sister, brothers, aunts, uncles that would miss them, or or a wife, or a husband, or a child that would miss them if they were killed? I just had to look at them as a target that needed to be put down, because if I didn't put them down, they'd either kill me or one of my battle buddies. Now, thankfully, we know, at least in my case, I never got IED'd, thankfully. But that doesn't change the fact. It's still I had to learn to dehumanize my enemy. It's part of the training. But then I also had to learn how to dehumanize myself. And there's a lot of issues that come with the dehumanization factor. Because when you dehumanize yourself, to dehumanize your enemy is about the only way you're going to go to get to kill them. There are multiple scenes in different movies. The fourth Rambo movie has got a great scene for this, in which one of the, if you haven't seen it, spoilers, one of the missionaries that was being rescued was like, I'll never kill somebody, had to kill someone at the very end. And it was a moment in which he had to dehumanize, and you could see the effect on him after. I mean, the actor did a great job on this, but just the effect it had to take a human life, to have to dehumanize them to the point of my survival is more important than yours. And it's in there. At some point, you realize that you're just an asset, and it doesn't change when you get out. You still have that mindset. You see it quite a bit throughout you see it quite a bit through all of military history. Your Medal of Honor winners who survived, the ones that were not awarded Medal of Honors post their death. I forget, posthumous. Anyways, not important. they would almost always have extremely bad cases of mental health trauma from the dehumanization of what they had to do. There's cases, it was talked about, like Polish police in World War II, who started off as, we're just going to be rounding up these people. At some point, they got to the point where they were dehumanizing their victims of war crimes when they were shooting Jews, pregnant female Jews in the back of the head, naked, into mass graves, and it would tear them up. But they were following orders. They had to dehumanize this person. That if it weren't for the situation they were in, they wouldn't. They'd be very humanizing with them. It messes with people, and it's a factor that exists in the military. For the military to function and do its job, we have to be dehumanized. We have to. Commanders have to be able to send us out in numbers, and knowing that some of us aren't coming back and can't be bothered to know our names. Some do. Some officers go, I know the name of every person that's ever dead. That's fine. That's awesome. But did you ever meet them? Did you ever engage with them? Did you ever sit down and have a meal with them? More often than not, no. But that's them trying to rehumanize those they dehumanized. For the average grunt, when you're in a situation, your battle buddy gets shot, you may know every intimate detail about him. You don't have time in that moment. You have to dehumanize him because you don't have time to tend to his wounds while the enemies, who you have to dehumanize, are still up. You got to drop them before you can go back to him. And at some point, you dehumanize yourself. You have to be able to do things, follow orders that no human in their right mind would follow, so that you can survive, so you can live. You have to do incredibly stupid things. And yeah, it's a factor. The dehumanization factor is massive in the military, and one of the biggest issues is it's not talked about or touched at all. It's not talked about, it's not touched on, it's not even examined at all when we get out of the military. There's individuals who the dehumanization factor is palpable. It's there. It's always there. It just sits there on them, where they have trouble not dehumanizing their family, not dehumanizing other people, and they know what can happen if they do, and it scares them at a fundamental level. And it's something that has to be looked at. It is a factor. It's in the top 3 of issues that military veterans deal with, is the dehumanization factor, realizing that we're an asset. The other thing with being an asset, with being just like this ammunition, is that the black powder in here, the gunpowder, the thing that propels the bullet, that makes it possible the bullet goes flying. And for the record, this part is the bullet, this is the casing, and the gunpowder's in there, just so people understand that. This is not a bullet, this is a cartridge, or in this case, ammunition. Suffice it to say, when we run out of that black powder, when we've used up all of our motivation, all of our strength, all of our mental and physical energy, either the military is going to reload us because our casing, our physical form is still good, or they're going to unceremoniously get rid of us. And when I say that, I'm not talking about fractricide. Fractricide for you on the outside basically means a friendly fire incident. What it means is that when you get to a point in which you are physically used up, I know 40-year-olds who've had double hip replacement and knee replacement because they were jump qualified and air assault qualified. When you're no longer capable of performing your task in the military, they unceremoniously get rid of you. They chapter you out. And there isn't any, hey, you did a good job, awesome, good. It's, yeah, well, we don't have a place for you anymore, and yeah, get out of here. That is an oversimplification, and that is probably a little bit more harsh than it needs to be. It isn't always that way, but sometimes it is. So, processing through that, working through that, it's coming to understand how that works. And just being able to work through those things and understand that, and being able to take care of it. But the dehumanization process is palpable, and so forth. Hopefully, I've educated some of you. Hopefully you have an understanding that this is something that as a military veteran you're going to have to deal with, and it's part of the military. You can't get rid of it. For the military to function, this aspect of dehumanization must happen. So to get rid of it would destroy the military. It doesn't matter what military it is. You can't separate them. They are meshed. But care can be given to those who get out on how to recover from it. And that's part of what I do. So hopefully, if you found this educational, you can leave a like and subscribe at the end of this. Share this with somebody that needs to hear this so they have an understanding of what's going on, hopefully. And, keep looking out there. Keep touching base with your veteran buddies. Talk to them. It helps. And, get mental health help. We're here to help you. I'm here to help you. And there's others who are here to help you as well. So at the end of the day, let's work together. But if you like, hopefully, if you like what you see, like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Government Property out.